Hey everybody, I'm Allie, and this is part 2 of my Y&R chat vlog for Sunday, April 19th. And this week we realized that Michael's It's a Wonderful Life Christmas dream had some tragic foreshadowing in it, with Kevin in the mental hospital and in fact in a closed-in padded cell that is not helping him get better in any way, shape, or form. Why is Heather being such a vindictive woman? I mean, she knows what Kevin's history is, and I kind of would have thought that in some way she would look into Michael's eyes and know that there's something more to the story, instead of just pushing and changing the judge's order so that he can get the worst treatment possible. That's not going to help him at all. Heather has issues of her own that I think she just takes out on people in her job. Now, because Kevin is in this situation, he's having these terrible bloody chipmunk head nightmares, which would be enough to make me pee in my pants, and I'm completely, supposedly insane. That head is creepy. The bloody chipmunk head is really, really creepy, so I don't blame him for being freaked out. I guess the one ray of light in the week, it certainly wasn't Gloria, it was Mackenzie. She came to visit Kevin, and it seemed like she had a little bit of an effect on him. You know, he was in the bookstore, he could hear her voice, but he couldn't see her face, but it seemed like he was almost there until the bloody chipmunk came along, but it kind of seemed like maybe she was somebody who could potentially help him. Another person that I wish could help Kevin would be Katherine. I mean, he's in this mess because he went out trying to rescue Katherine, and she knows that. She knows that. I mean, she knows what his history is. She knows Gloria. She owes so much to Michael, who's always there for everybody else in Genoa City. Katherine was there at the arraignment for Amber and Kevin, but I feel like she hasn't really gone out of her way to help him. I mean, couldn't she talk to the judge about potentially getting him some better treatment given his illness? I mean, she's Katherine Chancellor. I would like to see her do something a little more to help him, but I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how long this part of the story is going to stretch out for. I guess that we're just going to have to see. So Noah and Eden had a magical night together. I'm just going to start here. How many first times are actually pleasant and memorable? Really? I mean, Eden is walking around Genoa City, looking like she's the cat that swallowed the bird. She's just brimming with wonderfulness, and it's like, first times are painful and awkward and painfully awkward. So it's just weird seeing her just so satisfied with herself. Especially, it's weird and awkward when your parents walk in on you and you have to admit it to them. You shouldn't have to admit having your first time, I'm sorry, but it's their own fault. Why didn't they just go into Noah's bedroom to have sex? It's just like, I would think that maybe of all of the things, you would want your first time to maybe happen in a bed, not on a couch. I'm just saying. But then it wouldn't have been any fun walking in on them, and indeed it was hard. I felt really sorry for Nick during the walk-in. Dads don't handle this information, I don't think, as well as moms do, so it was hard on Nick, and I have to tell you, I laughed my butt off when Lauren told Michael that Eden had had sex. I mean, she told him, and she didn't even have to tell him very far. He was just like, I don't want to hear it. So with another week of Y&R, we have had another week of classic bickering between Jill and Katherine. The war rages on. Murph, bless his soul, almost had Jill talked down from the ledge. He had a heart-to-heart to her and tried to make her understand that Katherine really does love her. He was so close to making some progress when the Restless Style article came out, which I don't understand at all why Katherine would allow an article like that to be published if she really did love Jill, if she really did care about Jill. I don't know what, I feel like they didn't really talk about what the article said. I mean, mainly, I guess, just that they're not related, but, I think that given the sensitivity of the situation, you wouldn't want to publish that. I feel like that was very inconsiderate of Katherine to not think about Jill in that way. And then Mitchell Sherman fires Jill, just takes it upon himself to fire Jill. Jill thinks Katherine did it, and, you know, it just makes the anger between these two even worse. Why would Mitchell just do that? What on earth would give him the authority to think that he should just go ahead and fire Jill just because they're not related? So presumptuous of him, and that really, really ticked me off. You know, I think that the Katherine and Jill thing just boils down to this. These two women cannot communicate with each other. I really think that they both want the same thing. I think that Jill, you know, wants Katherine to be her mother and Katherine wants Jill to be her daughter. And they just can't seem to come together on this fact. And I think that the whole thing could be resolved if Katherine just would lay her hand on Jill's shoulder, look at her in the face, and say, I love you, and I want you to be my daughter, and the biology doesn't matter. And yes, that's something that Katherine has said many, many times over, but it's always in the context of this fighting. Katherine, look at her and really make this connection with her and help her to understand. And instead of letting it escalate into a fight, which I know is not easy with Jill or with anyone else, but you know, rather than letting it become this huge blowout, and Katherine ended up admitting that she was happy that Jill's not her daughter. And I don't think that was true for a minute. She said, you know, later I said some things to Jill that I didn't mean. So instead of allowing it to feed into this, I just think there should be a level of empathy there. And I really think that Katherine is going to need to be the one to champion it, because Jill is going through a lot of heavy stuff, and I didn't appreciate the way she treated Katherine before we knew it was Katherine, and I question her motives in there. But above all, I think that all Jill really wants to know is that she's loved and that she's wanted. And I think that it's really going to have to be Katherine who is going to make that happen and restore the relationship. So this was a week of custody hearings, and I'm not going to talk about Kane and Billy and Chloe and Lily and all of that this week. I'm going to wait for next week until we know what the results are. But we do know what happened with the Winters custody case. Neil obviously wants Tyra to keep Anna. He hired her a lawyer. He undermined their own case. He is handling this whole thing so poorly. I think that he should have just put his foot down with Karen to make her understand what was going on, instead of just trying to help Tyra on the slide to get the child, and then it blows up into this courtroom scene. Of course, that wouldn't be very interesting, but still, I don't know. On the other hand, though, I feel like Karen has way too much invested in this custody hearing. She's trying so hard to just create this fresh out of the oven family, and it just doesn't work that way. And, you know, Anna's testimony was very moving, and it made me really sad. Just looking in this sad girl's little face made me sorry for all of the snarkiness that I display about this topic. But she said it best. Karen and Neil are really nice people, and I love them, but Tyra is my mother, you know? But of course, the judge didn't see it that way. The judge decided to give Anna to the Winters because they're married and they have money. They pretty much had it in the bag, Neil and Karen, until at the end of Friday's show, Neil opens his mouth, and that was the end of the week, which basically means that Neil is going to plead to have Tyra get custody of Anna, which means that Karen and Neil are over. I think Tyra's going to get the custody, and Karen is going to split town. Okay, those are my thoughts for now. Please do feel free to leave me a comment. It's been a really full week, and I can't wait to hear what your thoughts are, so use the text box below, leave me a comment. I always look forward to reading them. I'm going to be back next Sunday afternoon as usual, so I will see you guys then. If you want to check out my website in the meantime, that would be awesome. It's buttonhead.org, and other than that, I'm going to see you guys next week, so have a good one and enjoy the show.